Hi guys, and welcome to the Venda Chef channel. My name is Punzo, and if you're new here, welcome.
Perfect.
I'm gonna be showing you how to make pap by the Venda Way. But also, when I say the Venda Way, now this is also my adaptation. I'm sure other people also use it. So the one that I'm making is solely how I make it. I used to make it super quick, which I learned after a while that if the maize doesn't cook completely, that is bad for you, it's bad for your health. So now I've adapted it. It's longer, but the taste of it is so much better. So guys, if you actually want to watch that, stay tuned, and that's what's coming up next. Okay, so you're gonna start off by boiling 6 cups of water, and then in a bowl, container, or anything that's deep, I'm using a measuring cup, mix in about 1 1/3 cup of maize. The measurements are all on the screen, and I'll also leave them in the description box. Mix that with some cold water, 2 cups of cold water. Then you just mix that. Take that mixture, pour it into the boiling water, and then you stir it until it becomes thick. And then after it becomes thick, so when it thickens and it gets to that point, it's gonna start almost like it's boiling. So when it does that, then you can put the lid on it and then allow it to simmer at medium to low temperature for about 45 minutes. So the little bubbles that you're seeing, the ones that I said in the beginning, is what you're looking for. So when it gets to this point, like I did, you're gonna put a lid on it, and then you're gonna allow it to simmer for 45 minutes. So after it is simmered, I'm just stirring it a little bit. I took out some for some soft porridge because I was craving some. So but then so to continue where we stopped, and also remember, when you're doing all of this, it is at a low temperature, so it should all be at a low temperature. So then you're gonna add some vinegar, and then you're gonna stir the vinegar into the mixture. And don't worry, you will not smell nor taste the vinegar in it after it's all done, but it does its job like I explained at the end of the video. So here we're gonna be starting to stir in the maize, like the dry maize, into the maize that is already cooked, and we're allowed to cook for a bit. I don't know what was happening, and I was spilling on the hat. I didn't see it because it was on the other side. Yeah, so but you just do this gently, and then you take your time. Don't rush this. Make sure that you mix everything in, and make sure you avoid lumps. So don't do too much, just a little bit at a time, so that you do not have lumps in there. And take your time, mix it, make sure everything is mixed before you add on your next bag. So you're gonna do this a couple of times until you get to the stiffness that you want. So if you pour too much, it's gonna be too stiff, and you're not gonna be able to actually move it. And if you do too little, it's gonna be too watery. It will set at a point, but it's gonna be too watery. So make sure that you will feel it on the on your wooden spoon as you're mixing, that is getting to the thickness that you want. So here I put a lid on it, and then I'm gonna allow it to simmer for about an hour at a very low temperature. So on your stove it should be at around 2 or 1, and then I'm gonna allow it to cook in completely. Now while it's doing that, at like about 30 minutes, make sure that you go and turn the you go and turn the mixture that's in the pot like once at least, and then you allow it to simmer until the 1 hour has lapsed. Don't forget, always at a very low temperature. So at this point it's basically done. It has simmered for the hour, and before I put it into the dish that's on the side, I'm going to mix this a little bit more to make sure that I mix even the water that's on the top of it, that has been, I guess, evaporating and condensing. And then I'm just using the dish to serve it up this is for storage. So like if you're going to serve it up later, right, you put it in this and then you'll cut it up however you want to cut it up, and then you can store the whole thing afterwards, so it's less messy, by basically what I'm saying. So after you're done with all of this, you make it nice a little bit. I'm not good at this, but this is basically what I did. And after that, I'll just let it cool, and then I'll cut it into pieces like a pizza. Okay guys, so that was the recipe. So in this recipe, it really does not need a bunch of things. All you need is your water, pot, maize, and vinegar, and that's about it. So as you saw in the video, that's it takes a while letting it just cook on its own, but at low heat, because for me I like to cook it through and through, so that it's not like, so that I don't ever have to taste like the maize. I want to make sure that the maize is like completely like cooked. Also, some of the words I do not, to tell you the truth, know in English, so I will leave it in my own language, because that's the only word I know for it. And please, if you do know the words, please leave them down below in the description box. But for me, I actually don't know what it's actually called. Most especially like for, at least I know that, I think when they say utsima or like uhahara, it basically is the simmering stages of those places where the heat is low but it's cooking. So I think they're both simmering, but like in my home language, they're two different things. So if somebody was to tell you that iko hahara, you would know what that means, and when they say it is iko chima, you would also know what they're talking about. But I also don't know what it is in other languages. But basically though, that's the recipe that I've been using and I like it. And I think pretty much my mom also uses almost the same recipe, but of course she also has the way that she makes it. So for instance, she adds the vinegar before adding in like the maize with water in it, and then I like to add it like after it has already like simmered for a while, and then I just add it just before I'm about to, now see, I don't know the English word for that, but as you're mixing it, in Chivenda it's called nyongerera, but I have no idea what you call it in English. But yeah, in that process, so that like when I come to the process, you can still have like the power of the vinegar, but it's not too overpowering at the same time. And the more it cooks, the less you're gonna smell and taste the vinegar. Also, you're not using like too much of it. Also, what the vinegar helps with, right, when you're cooking pap, especially the version of pap that we're cooking, because if you were just to like leave it, right, it will go bad like a day or two, like in a day or two, right? But if you pour in the vinegar, it can push it at least to about 4 or 5 days, and then more days if you leave it in the fridge as well. But if you leave it in the fridge, when you do microwave it, it's not gonna be exactly the same. So it's all up to you which version you actually want. Also, the reason why I was using vinegar, back when my mom used to cook it, like she used to ferment the maize for about a day or two, just the maize and the water in there, if you want to do that one. And that one was called mutuku. I don't know, but I think the direct translation is fermented maize, right? So if you wanted it, that one also lasted the same effect that the vinegar has. It also has, but that one is a little bit more like sour. That was just my version of like how to cook pap, the Venda way. But the Venda way, I'll put that in quotes because that's just one way that I do it. It doesn't mean just because I'm a Venda person that I represent all Venda people and how they cook. So all the Venda people and how they cook. So that's how I'll say this is my version. And if you want to try it out, I guarantee you, if you cook it the way that I'm telling you to cook, exactly as I'm telling you to cook, you will enjoy it. And it will last you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button if you actually enjoyed the video and if you want to see more recipe videos, and also leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.